Since a century ago, some Malawians have moved to the United Kingdom from Malawi. Malawi is a country that is in the southern part of Africa. This movement of people from Malawi to the United Kingdom has been more influenced by the history of the country, since the country was a colony of Britain from 1891 to 1964. Some of these people that have moved to the UK have settled in the northwest city of Manchester. As the saying goes, east or west, home is best. Most of these Malawians who are now in the UK, especially Manchester, have continued with their Malawian cultural practices, working under the organization known as the Order of St. Hadrian, and with funding from the UK National Heritage Rotary Fund. We sought to understand the stories of these Malawians living in Manchester by interviewing 30 of them. This is more for the benefit of future generations, especially children born of Malawian parents, as they will know what their roots or parents were practicing or what practices they brought from Malawi.
I can start, yeah. Okay, yeah, so thank you very much. My name is Allan Mandindi, and I came to this country in 2003. It was a bit of a challenge, but you know, after finishing my secondary school in Malawi, and you know, for most young lads like myself, we didn't have much opportunity at that time to, although I passed well, to go and do university entrance, but I didn't get to be picked to go to university in Malawi. So there was not much option for me. So I thought, you know, what should I do? So migrated to UK to study, and yeah, so started life here. I was on my own that time, no relative, nobody. I didn't know anyone. It was a bit of a challenge, and then the years started moving, passing, and then I eventually come to meet Sonia, who is my wife today. Yeah, so that's how I found myself where I am today. Yeah, so, and I think more I'll be explaining as we go on with the interview. Yeah.
Well, I'm Sonia now. No more Sonia Allan. So my name is Sonia Allan. Yes. No, Mandindi. But I come from Jamaica, 2002. I just come to family. I believe in family. They didn't have any place for me to stay. So I met a friend, this girl that we used to work together, and I come and stay with her. And in 2000, I was going to this church where I was Bible class. I used to have this friend of mine in the house. He's from Jamaica. He likes me very well, but no, not like that. He just liked me like a sister. So he tell me about Pastor Mandindi. That while I was going to church, and that's how I met him in 2005.
So we have two children. We have two children. I've got a boy and a girl. So the boy Sean, he's 6 years old. Yeah, and then our girl, the firstborn, is a girl, Angelica. She's 9 years old.
One of the interesting and exciting narratives that we got when talking to people who participated in the project is when they were asked the question, how did you meet each other? How was that first day when you started courtship like? And a lot of them shared very exciting stories about the start of their journey in a relationship, which some of them they are still in. Here is what they said.
So I was, as I say, I was just a young guy. I was single that time, and I happened to live in Mosside, because when I left Malawi, I landed straight in Mosside. Yeah, so and Mosside, you know, as you might be aware, Mosside during that time it was there was a huge Caribbean community, mostly Jamaican. So I started to mingle with the people in Mosside, and started to learn what they do. I started going to the church, in Jamaican church in Mosside, and every time I was going to eat some Jamaican food, because that's what was around me, you know. And I felt home because, you know, coming from Malawi, coming to England where there's no much friends, and then find yourself in a black community as well. You know, it felt like more like home to me, closer to home. So, and the closest thing I could have in terms of food was Jamaican food, Jamaican things. So I just loved the environment. And then some years passed, and I met a friend of mine, this other friend, and we happened to work together. So I found him a job somewhere, so we were working together. So, and then one night we were working, and then we were talking, say, Allan, you know, you need to get, do you have a girlfriend? We were just talking. So I was like, at the moment I don't have a serious relationship, you know. And they'll say, no, but you're a decent guy, you know, I admire you, you know, this and that, and you know, you love to mingle with the Jamaican. Why don't you find a Jamaican girlfriend? So I was saying, I don't know, I didn't know anyone. So he said, oh, but there's this other girl, you like her, she's nice, this and that, you like her, I'll give you the number. So he gave me the number, and then but me, I was like, oh wow, how am I gonna approach her? But for some reason, I interact well with Jamaican ladies. I don't know why, but in Mosside, when I go to food, they just loved me. They were just welcoming. The women just loved. The Jamaican women just loved me. So I just felt like, oh, that's good. You know, maybe that's where my destination is. So I sent text to Sonia, and then she was like, no, but I can't. I say, would you like to meet me? A friend, a friend of mine introduced me to you, and she was saying, oh, I can't just meet strangers, this and that. But I kept on text her. I knew that she was living alone. She had a house. She was living somewhere. She was independent. So, but she felt like, you know, she can't just bring a stranger in. So it took me some few days, and then she invited me in, and then we went to have a chat, and then so from there, and then we just become friends, and then for some years till we got married.
There are various views in terms of practices on wedding ceremonies and marriages. Interfaith, interracial, intercultural weddings. What are people's views? The Malawians who were interviewed were asked this question, what their opinion are, and what they would advise their children on interfaith, interracial, and intercultural marriages.
When there is a relationship from mixed relationships, there's always some misunderstandings. because Sonia's culture is different from Malawi. My culture is different from Malawi, and the people in Malawi, they don't understand the culture in Jamaica. So it was hard for me to, at first, when we decided that we're getting married, and then I had to go to Malawi to explain to my parents, to explain to my relatives that I'm getting married, and it wasn't an easy thing. Although, as I said, that it was through God's grace that when I went to Malawi, the first person that I had to convince was my grandfather, from my mom's side, because he's the only one who was still alive. So he invited me. So I went to the village, and he said, I heard that you are marrying someone from Jamaica. I said, yes, sir. And they said, oh, okay. Tell me about this lady, this special lady. And I was like, oh, hey, she's this and that, this and that, this and that. And I was like, oh, Allan, me, when I was a young man, I also traveled. I went to Zambia. I think he also, I don't know whether he came to England here as well at some point. And then he based himself in Zambia. But during that time, he married. And he married somebody from, so he is somebody who understands the thing about intercultural and when people migrate, what happens. So he was so understanding, and I told her, I'm giving you the blessing. If she's the one that you think you love, then go and marry her. And I was I've never been happy in my life when I heard that, and everything just went smooth. My father didn't even put a roadblocks. He just said, oh, that's all right, we support you. Everyone just supported me, and we got married. And my parents came, both my parents came, and they were at the wedding, and the wedding was here in Manchester. Yeah, so it's been, yeah.
I didn't find anything wrong. I didn't know much about this because it didn't matter. Not being rude or trying to be disrespect to the family. I didn't have a clue what's going on his side.
Okay, so no, now your side.
On my side?
Yes.
Oh, Jamaican is just like England. My mom was happy because my mom, she never saw him, and she just the voice. She just liked the voice and like the way he carry himself and all that. My bigger brother, they all fine. They were happy for me with him, but they couldn't get to come here because they only have American visa. They didn't have any England, and to come through here, they maybe turned them back, and they didn't want to waste any money. So they said, look, we send you a blessing, and that's okay. They didn't give me no fight, no trouble. The only thing my mom said that there was a lady back home, she was a hairdresser and a good friend of my mom, married to a Nigerian, and the Nigerian get her crazy with more than one wife because they was in America, and because of the more than one wife get her crazy, so the husband sent her back to Jamaica to die. And my mom only said to me, just be careful of these Africans. That's the only thing that she said, but otherwise she was happy with the Allan. She never have any fault, she never speak anything ill or anything. She only said, be careful of Africans. I said, it's me into it, you just leave your shoulder for me to cry, and if anything. And that's it.
Children have to be taught. Children have to be taught about their parents' cultural practices. We sought to ask parents what type of information they pass on to their children concerning wedding ceremonies and marriages. And this is what they had to say.
I think what I'm saying that I'm not getting involved into children marriage and affair. I only can tell her directly what it means to have a boyfriend and what what a woman means to a relationship. So with that, I only can tell her how she can go at it. What is the best thing to do? But it's her choice. You understand? I will tell her because all the time I say to her that if you climb up and you fall, there's consequences. So if you get into a relationship, it's not gonna be sweet. It's not gonna be sour. It's gonna be, so you have to know exactly what you're doing, what you're going at. So for me, just open eyes and see when you get in that and put God first. Put God in the relationship in every way. That's the only thing I can say to a young person. Open your eyes to the relationship, what the person doing, how the person do it, the reaction, everything, the details. Woman like details, the woman like to look at this, even these little simple little things. Look at it. Can you cope? Can you cope? That's the only thing. Even the smallest thing that you do, can you cope? Can you deal with it? Because it's not only that, there's many, many more. So if you can cope with the small details, I don't like when anyone gets into my relationship. I don't like it. So, I don't think I want to get into it. If I'm getting into it any at all and to have something, it must be something positive. If the person wrong,
what about
I just think that the details, just look at the details of a man. Just skim it and see if you can cope.
the interracial? Yeah, interracial marriages now. Looking at our situation now with our kids is more likely unavoidable because we have kids who are living in a different era from what we have ourselves. Because ourselves we came from back home, grew up back home with a certain kind of mindset, and now we've got kids who have grown up in this kind of environment where although they might be from different race, but they still see their fellow friends like they're on the same platform. So what I would advise the kids who are getting into interracial is just to understand your partner and understand their culture, their values. Because if you don't understand that, then you're going to lose it all. Because for you to get the backing and support of the parents, you have also to win their mindset. And for you to win their mindset is also to just have a certain form.
It's not the parents. The parents don't have anything to do with a relationship.
Yeah, but
you understand what I mean?
But
it's about you and the person. If Allan has what he said and he explained, he's interested in me, he goes to his granddad. If the granddaddy said no, he will still go at it. You understand?
But the difference is now, Sanya, is when you look at my granddad is in Malawi, so it doesn't really have direct impact on me. But if now we're talking about our kids, the young ones who are here now, that they'll have us within the setting. So if the parents doesn't agree or doesn't understand what they're getting involved into, they're more likely to affect, to influence some of their decisions at later stage. So it's for those young ones who are getting into interracial marriages, you know, it's good thing, but there need to be an understanding.
It's like this is a debate at this time. I'm trying to say to him that if the man interested in the woman, because as he said, yeah, the relationship there is something that because of me, he can't really. Do you understand? So, no matter what the parents said, yeah, no matter what the parents said, and you have some women, parents, you understand? Because if I interested and he interested, no matter what the parents said, if I even have to take him to Jamaica and get him married, that's what I would do. So it's not the parents don't have any great hold of a person unless they don't have. Is the child's own mind and will. You understand? If they feel like to walk out of the parents, I don't care. And you know what they're like now. I don't care. And they walk. They're going to do whatever and leave to the woman. That's why we need to pray. Because if we don't pray, we find this woman were so strong in, and some woman kind of put in the clock so deep into your son. You can't move that easy. So the son will follow. Wherever the woman go, can you stop him from marrying her? You can't. So it's up to the men, and it's up to the both of them. So all the parents have to do is to listen and try to give advice. As I said, just notify the small details when you cope. Because the parents can't do anything. If they want to go to do it, they will go and do it. So if you go too deep into somebody's relationship, maybe you lose the both of them. So the person said, can you cook? Can you do it fully? Give them a brother, give them a long term to do the marriage. 5 years. We will do this for you. We will do this for you within 5 years. That's fine. So by 5 years, they change their mind. And you as a parent, you cannot keep it that way. And if you, as the parents, you're supposed to, if there's a son, if it's your son, you must can tell the son, say, look, this is how it goes, this is how it goes. Don't try to, not saying that you'll fix it, because your son look up to you. Try to make sure that the woman who is with your son have this, make the woman feel peace. Because if the woman don't feel peace, your son not gonna have peace. So whenever you're dealing with your children, and if it's a woman in your son life, try to make the woman more comfortable. Try to look at the woman part, the section of the woman, what the woman needs. And if you can explain to her in the right and proper way to bring peace, that's the best way, more than you step to your son's side. Because it's not your son who's the problem, it's the wife. It's the wife. Because if the wife is not happy, the husband would never happy. And he won't come through that door with peace. So as a mother and a father, I think that the best idea, talk to the wife. I encourage the son in the right.
Most often, people plan their wedding ceremonies elaborately. In fact, it's a process that sometimes takes months. We ask people how they planned their wedding and what their emotions were on their wedding day. In Malawi, planning a wedding ceremony is quite a process. In some instances, it may take even months. It may take several people meeting over a certain period. We asked those who had their wedding ceremonies what it was like planning for that day.
I can start from.
It was mostly Malawian English way.
I can't say to be honest, I didn't know what style it was, but what we did is we had a lot of people who were involved to help us to make the.
Oh right.
Yeah, a lot of people who got involved. We had
it was Ghanaian, innit?
we had Jamaicans. We had a huge, big Ghanaian community. But the church that I was going to, Sonia was going to, it was a Ghanaian church. So they told us, the women in Ghana, they told us, you know what, we'll do the people, they did the whole.
The thing is what
they did
sorry,
this, yeah.
The thing is what happened. We did want to hire a hall, but you know they're not gonna cook the food that what they liked. So what the women did, because I was under choir, the woman they said, okay, just bring the money and we will do our stuff. So we have Jamaicans, we have a lot of Ghanaian because it was a Ghanaian church. We have few Nigerian,
Ghanaian, Nigerians, Jamaicans. Yeah.
There was a different. It was a culture thing. It was a different cultures of people. It was really nice.
So at first, me, I wanted to get too involved into the wedding because I think Sonia knows what kind of person I am. I like to I like to do things the way I vision it. So the wedding, the people from the church, the community, they said, give us this money. Give us this money, we will take care of everything. We go and do so, but I will still say, I want to go see the hall. I want to see the layout. I want to see where they say, no, just go and relax. It's gonna be a day. Just go and relax with your, we will do everything. So, but I was still nervous. I was still thinking that, I still have to go to have a look. Even the day before, I wanted to go to the hall just to have a look to see if everything is the way we wanted.
You're so compassionate over everything.
Yeah, but
yeah,
what they did is, what I would say is, the wedding was just African. There was an element of Malawi. There was an element of they just put everybody who was involved in our community, which was multicultural. So we had, as I say, we had Ghanaians, Nigerians, Jamaicans, Malawians. So they just did bits, and it was just, you can't say that this wedding was Malawi. This wedding but it was just a wedding, African wedding, and it was just beautiful. So, and I think that's something that we learned, that when you have kind of multicultural setup, you can't have a fixed kind of thing. You don't know exactly what's going to happen, but things just happen. So it happened that way, and there was we really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Okay. Going through the exercise in the project, talking to Malawians in Manchester about their experience on wedding ceremonies and marriages, and of course opinions, we got a lot of advice, and this is what some of them had to say, advising especially young ones who want to get into marriage.
You have to try. You have to try, man. You have to. I wouldn't tell a person not to do it. Marriage is like, women always say, oh, I'm not going to give birth again. But at the end of the day, they give a birth. That's why I'm saying that marriage is not sweet, but you have to do it. It's a must, because it's coming from God. So you have to marry to feel the commandment and the passion of God. So
Yeah.
that's it.
On that, I kind of take a different view. Although marriage is something that is been communicated in the Bible, that you have to get married at some point. But is getting married to the right person.
Who is the right person, Bobby?
Huh?
Who is the right
I'm going to explain, which is quite important. Because getting married to the right person, as we said earlier on in the interview, we're talking about the connection that you can have with the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. So that connection, that connection is what brings happiness in your marriage. So when we look at the start, we're talking about us spending 5 years together. So spending that 5 years together, that's where it brings a special person. Because now you become connected to the person, and then getting married to the right person. Because if you can stay with somebody for 5 years and say that person is not the right person, then there's something wrong with you.
No. It's because the arguing, the bickering, and because you're not of God, you fester. You know, when you're not in Christ, you will fester. And that festering causes you separation. You know. So because each time, every day you're supposed to forgive. You know, each time you must forgive. But that person who cannot forgive, that's the reason why you find a separation.
So the advice that I can give to young people who want to get married is, to know the person well and make sure that, when you're making that decision, putting the ring on the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, you make sure that you're making the right decision and the right choice. But through staying together, not staying together, but through knowing each other for quite a lengthy period, it's vital as well, because that helps you to know the person. Because if you know the person, you know the downside, you know their positive side, you know their negative, you know when they're in good mood, when they're in bad mood. So if you know the person that way, it's good, because it kind of helps you to see how you can deal with situations. But if you just maybe meet somebody for a month and you think that you know that person well and you got married, and then that's when things start popping up. Because now when some other situations start coming out, and then you've never encountered those things, that's when people freak out, and when people can't handle it normal, and then people say, you know what, we're calling it a day. And this is why you see people who have got married maybe a month or 2 months, 3 months along the line, and they're saying that no, that marriage is finished, and you wonder how. But if somebody
the marriage is finished, because I can't forgive you.
So this is what I'm saying, that if there is that kind of knowing the person for quite a long period of time, Sanya, you know how you can work with the person, and you know how you can forgive the person, and you know how you can handle matters. So that's the advice I would give people. Say, have more time to know the person that you want to get married to, and then you won't have much problem when you get married, because everything that comes in, it will be something that repeating or something that you have encountered before, and you kind of know how you can deal with. Because there are times when sometimes you might have to know that at this, maybe when my wife, when she's going through this, she reacts in a certain way. So, and you don't want to provoke her. Sometimes women, they can have their own moments, but you also need to study your partner to see if there's certain moments, how does she react, and there's certain things which might come along, and if you have never encountered those things, then you have problems. Because I've seen people who have got married to somebody, and somebody just faint. And they say, "Oh, you didn't tell me that sometimes, certain times you faint and collapse, and the voice, and I can't handle that." You know, both people laugh at me that your wife does this and that. But if you know that my wife or the person I've got married, there's certain times maybe she's got certain this problem, which people doesn't need to know, but you know, and you know how to deal with those, and then you don't, you know how to handle those, and that's what brings marriage to become unique, because that way you know how you can deal with things, because there's a lot of things which happen in marriage and you can't put those things out for everybody to see. That when you're walking there, you're walking with badges of everything that you go through in your marriage, and then that's what the problem. So yeah,
So
that's why.
what you're saying, that you must take away secret. You must don't have any secrets
Don't have secret, but secrets do happen. But if it
between you and your husband. You don't supposed to have no secrets.
no, if you and me we've just met for 2 months as boyfriend and girlfriend, and then I want to know everything about you within 2 months. 2 months is too short. I want to know.
This guy take 1 year to tell me everything about
Yeah?
his family.
Yeah, because
One long
no,
year.
no. One thing is you have to build trust. You build trust, and then it's a process. You have to learn that the person that if I give this person everything that is their trust. So some other people, they have kind of a problem in just trusting somebody instantly. They have to understand the person to trust them. Yeah? So it takes all that, the relationship and everything, and then you build trust, and then you build to know the person, and then that's when you start connecting. And then you know that at least I've known everything from, I don't think anything can just pop up that I don't know about my wife. By this time we're getting married, I think I know everything that I need to know. So that is very important, because that way, you minimize chances of you encountering something which can trigger a divorce, and which is something which is happening more common these days, because a lot of young people who I've spoke to, myself, who just recently got married and they've divorced, they'll give you things which you say, but this you can reconcile. This is something that but it's because they didn't had enough time to know the person, and then when some little thing just comes up, they can't handle it under the pressure, and then they just decide that, you know what, I think you're not the kind of person that I wanted, because they have got something in their head that the ideal woman is this one. And then when they see a little mistake in the person that they are with, they think that that person is not an ideal woman. But you are the one who can make the person you're with to become an ideal woman, or the person you are with is the one who can make you to become an ideal husband. Yeah, so
Seems he wants to say something.
yeah,
No, because he's just what is it with him? He's just talking. It's something that me I don't believe in. So because there's different ways for your person said, I can't deal with this no more. Because you have some men, you have different attitudes. Some women cry for the relationship not working, like the husband not giving me much attention. When you upstairs, I'm downstairs. These are the things there, attention. So some people can't deal with that. We have, as we're talking, you have money problems. You don't share. You understand? So these things will break relationship. So you have to understand that this is what this guy was quoting and said, a man is from God. A woman is for the man. You understand? The man is from God. This is who you go to God for. God, God responsible, respect. You choose me. I was at the bus stop. I never trouble you. You choose me. Now you're supposed to take care of me. I don't have. Oh no. This is not right now. So I'm saying that these are the things why women will move on. And when women started to talk, the men want to go because they don't want to hear. They don't want to know that the things that they love that much, they need to take care of it. How can I have a shoes and I said I love the shoes and I walk through the mud and don't clean it? You understand? These are the problems that with men. And they feel like it's a woman. Oh, you talk too much, you talk too much. Listen, we are somebody who remind you what you're supposed to do. We are not evil. We are like spirit who come from God who remind you of things. We are your helper. Not distracting you, not to do things wrong. We are your helper. We help you to remind you of the things that you need to be do for you to do. But you think that we are taboo. We are killing you. You see? So what they do now, they don't. Some of them, I don't want any black woman, I want white woman. They run to white woman call up like, yeah. Then when they can't take them no more, they say, you see? And then they kill themselves. What can we do? We are women. So this is what break relationship.
Yeah,
Learn to take care of what belongs to you. And then when you take care of what belongs to you, you don't have to polish a woman. A woman will love you. You will have a woman like this. How fast, honey, you want me to spin? Spin. You see?
Yeah,
so you must know how to take care of a woman. Once you get to know how to look after a woman, you don't have no problem.
Yeah,
You walk on the hair.
that's very true. I think that's I think it's a common thing that happened to most of us, because sometimes we kind of forget to value the things that we have to value, and it's a common thing. But you know, that's why things like you know, the things that you, when you interact with other people as well, that's when you start kind of listening to what people are going through, and then you start looking at also the problem that you are going through, because there's no relationship which is rose, as you say, Sanya, at the start. So there's always things, but it's how we can also take what we have to help to share and shape other people, so that they you know, they learn something out of it.
Okay.
So, but what you say, yeah, that's true. I think that it's a big problem. It's a big. I've seen it myself, and sometimes I kind of I can get carried away with certain things, and kind of start forgetting about my wife, because I see that she's okay. I just assume that she's okay because of what I see. But still more, even if she's okay with something, she might have money that you have seen that she's got money. But still more, as a man, I'm still supposed to kind of help to carry out my duty as the man, the head of the family.
Right.
So yeah, so I think that's the advice I would give to a lot of people who are about to get married, that, you know, don't just assume that even if your wife, even if I was listening yesterday.
This is for men.
Yeah,
You
for
telling
men,
men.
for men. Yeah, I was listening yesterday. Actually, I was watching there was a clip on social media. I shared on my Facebook. They were talking about women in America. These are women with high jobs, chief executives, this and that, but they can't get get married, they can't get husbands. But one thing which somebody was saying, an expert, is most of the husbands, because they are high, they are top, you know, they're earning a lot of money. Now the husband, the men who want them, they are earning low. And a lot of people think, oh, if I get married to her, that's going to be a problem. So let me just, maybe I can go out with her, because when you go out with somebody, you know, you can't really, you know, they can't know much about you. They might think that you're in the same league, you're in the same this and that. But when they start knowing each other, they'll say, oh, my husband earns a little bit less than me. But now, what I'm trying to explain, to say here is, you know, even though your somebody who your partner is high, a woman, maybe she's a chief executive, earning a lot of thousands, but still more, she expects you, even if you're earning less, but she still expects you to have to spare something just to value her as your wife. And I think that's what keeps marriages nowadays. But when you just think that, because she's earning a lot, and then I don't have to do anything, I think that's a problem which I've seen through my own research, which is damaging a lot of relationships. And so I would advise people, just don't just assume that here in England we live in a different setting, because most of us who have come from some other countries, you can be highly educated, you can be degree this and that, but we find ourselves to be on the same kind of level with our spouses. And sometimes that can be a challenge, because when you go Africa, you see it's kind of different setting. You see that a man earns a lot of money, and the women earns a little bit less. But now we have that level playing field. But when you come with that kind of mentality and bring it here, it can also damage you. So you need to be somebody who can be able to adapt and fit the environment that you're in, and see how you can work things out, and just sharing, because I think sharing is what is the biggest challenge, which I face it as well. Well, sometimes I'm not, I can't say that I'm here to advise people that I'm perfect. I'm advising people that I have managed to find a way of how to deal with those kind of challenges, and find a way that we can move on and live a happy life as a family. So, but for young people who are just getting married, if they find themselves in a situation whereby women are earning much money, they should not just assume that because they earn much money, then they don't need anything from them. We also need to, provide something, and make sure that we are doing things on the level.
They say a man's supposed to be a man.
Yeah, a man should take up the responsibility of being a man in the house, no matter whether he's earning low or what, but he should take up that responsibility and just be.
It's not to lose his peace. He's not supposed to lose his footstep.
Yeah.
Because a man role is a man role. The thing is, the next problem is a woman. The woman like to brush away the man. Oh, you don't have to do anything. No. That's why you find some men, they will walk out and go on their date. You have what it takes. The woman have the education. They have they have everything. But a man will leave and go to a scrum job. A woman with nothing, across the street. Because what? You don't let the man be the man. You're taking away the role, you're giving money, you don't even want him to go and buy his own clothes. You find yourself buying clothes, you're buying socks. You don't. Your children, you can't talk, the men can't talk to the children, because he finds time on his phone. He can't come out as well to deal with the children. That's no good. It's no good for man role. It's no good. The man need to know that not because I'm a doctor or a lawyer, I can't wash toilet. A woman is a woman who will speak to you about the word of God. You and your wife inside, you're talking, you're cooking. You and your wife, you're cleaning. One cleaning the kitchen, one cleaning here. If you're upstairs, who can clean the bathroom and the toilet? The other one clean the room. That's what, that's unity, that communication, that's relationship. That's marriage. But when you see one have a car, I'm going to supermarket, you can't go with your husband to supermarket. No. You find the wife alone end up in the supermarket, going to the supermarket, she's doing picking up kids, she's doing everything. Men when they sit down, or they have the big chair watching TV. It's no good. And that's what breaking us African marriage, even if we said I'm a Jamaican, I'm an African anyway. So I'm saying it breaking us. It breaking us. It really mashing up us. The woman, they don't want to give the men them nothing to do. You know, they don't want to stand up on their foot and say, oh, you have to go and pick the kids. You know, so, oh, you need to go supermarket. I always say to Mandindi, say, Mandindi, I am talking to you that if I die tomorrow morning, you know how to look after your kids. You know how to take care of your kids here. Another woman, you would say, no. If your kid come to you and said to you, said, oh, Dad, so-and-so hurt me, then you will listen if you pay attention to your kids. But if you leave all of the responsibility to the wife, you don't have no compassion for the kids. You don't have any love for your kids. You only said, oh, these are my kids. But you don't have nothing because you don't know how they eat. You don't know how they drink. You don't know how they change clothes. You don't know how they shower. You don't know anything. So how? By the time the wife dies, oh, I need to get somebody to look after my kids. And that person that comes is the devil himself hurting the children. So what I'm saying that how a black husband need to pay attention to their family, to their wife, to take off some of the load off us. You know, we work at days, we do long hours in the hospital, daytime. Nighttime we do another shift. And we do it maybe 3-4 nights. Then we come home, we have to pick up kids. Then we come home, we have to clean house, we have to cook, we have to do this. Husbands. What kind of husband? Do you need one? Why you think the wife they leave? You find out they are fighting for dole money. You know, the children money. You're getting money for the kids. They're talking about it. Do not do it. As you as the husband, you don't supposed to be happening. You're supposed to give it. Tapping up. That's your responsibility. That's not the wife's responsibility if you tell you that, no. We know that if you don't have, you don't have.
A good thing that this country has taught us those kind of things, which back home we don't have. Because if I was tell Sonia that if I was back home, would have had maybe somebody say, go and drop the kids at school. Go and pick up the kids, or feed the kids, keep the kids. Yeah. But here we have no choice, we do it ourselves. And that responsibility needs to be shared between all of us, so that at least, we're living happily. So it's the small things which are breaking marriages here in the United Kingdom, and it's just paying particular detail to those things, and you have a good relationship. Although, we can't say that things will always be bright. There are times when things can become a little bit sour, but you have to know that the things that become a little bit sour, how do you make them to become the way they were normal, rather than you just make them even to become even worse. So it's us as men to take up our responsibility and to try to help our women to make sure that